Hi, I'm Shaul. The other day at a family gathering, someone asked me, why do you have to use such a massive camera to take photos at an intimate, private event like this one? My first instinct was to just duck the question by saying something like, this is not the kind of questions to ask a gentleman. But I realized it was a good question. I couldn't really come up with an immediate answer, because it's complicated. Of course, I admit that I'm deep in a rabbit hole about the photographic look of my images. I'm always after lifelike images, images that are poppy, that are dimensional, that show distances, that show life as it is, as we experience it through our own eyes. But it's a concept that is difficult to explain. It's even difficult to demonstrate by showing people images. They cannot readily see the difference between an iPhone camera and a camera taken with a proper optics. The look of a picture is a matter of the optics you use. All the optics, glass that is not perfectly corrected, that suffers from some chromatic aberration, does have a way of preserving the nuance in the scene, creating a transition zone around edges, which accentuates the curvature of objects, and by extension it has a more natural, more dimensional look. To discern distances in the scene, you can actually interpret the scene correctly through the two-dimensional image, where you can correctly evaluate distances. I did use a large camera at that event. I used this one, the Nikon D4S, which is a big thing. It's quite intimidating when you point these massive things at someone. But it's a camera I like. In fact, I don't really use this thing enough. It's a camera that is meant to be used. It's powerful. It was created to shoot sports and wildlife in long bursts. It was created to immediately focus on your subject and keep the focus right there, even if your subject is in motion. It's a rather inconvenient setup. The lens mounted on it, the lens I used during the event is the old Nikon 20-35 D series. It's a 30-year-old lens. It relies on a screw drive to autofocus, to position the focusing group inside the lens at the right position. And sadly, this type of older, more noisy, less accurate autofocus is not supported by mirrorless cameras. You can't even find an adapter that would autofocus such lenses on the Z mount. So I had to shoot this lens on a DSLR. Now, it's not my only Nikon DSLR that can support such lenses. I have three of them actually. The old D700, which is a lovely camera. It has legendary rendition. Its color reproduction is really special. So is this, so is the D4. It's a little bit different, but still, if we are talking about skin tones, about the overall contrast, the processing of the JPEGs inside the camera, it is a lovely thing. I don't think you can find any modern camera that would create such lovely images that you can use straight out of camera. I also own a new Nikon DSLR, the D780, which is a type of hybrid between mirrorless technology when you use a live view and traditional SLR when you use the viewfinder. It is actually the only camera I know of that can use such lenses in autofocus to shoot video. The D700 and the D780 are smaller cameras than this one, much smaller. They weigh about half of what this camera weighs, especially the newer D780. However, the D4S has an additional advantage over the other two. It has an excellent dynamic range. It is capable of preserving the details in really the extremes of the tonal range. It does a good job, better than any of my other cameras, including the Nikon ZF, which has a modern BSI sensor with rather good dynamic range. Actually, the camera filming me now, the Nikon ZF, is my daily use camera. I like it. It's really nice. I'm agnostic about its retro design and its user interface, not especially after those traditional dials and the look of the camera. I don't mind it, but I don't really seek it. The reason I bought it was that it was the first Z-mount camera with a 24 megapixel sensor that had adequate autofocus capability for my use. And it's a camera that can achieve great results depending on the lens you mount on it. Now the Z-mount is rather flexible in its lens compatibility. You can mount almost any lens ever made on this camera. You can do it utilizing autofocus natively or by using an appropriate adapter. The lens filming me now is the Nikon 28mm f1.4e, which is adapted to this camera using a simple lefty Z adapter with electrical contacts. But what I usually mount on this camera are M-mount lenses made for Leica rangefinders. And those lenses can also autofocus, at least in some manner, using an autofocusing adapter that really expands the capabilities of these lenses. Nevertheless, my problem with modern mirrorless cameras is that I don't really know how to explain this, but they seem like platforms that run a certain version of firmware or software that can be replaced. So their behavior is not really intertwined into their build, into their hardware, if you know what I mean. While a camera such as this, it feels more like a single tool that is engineered to perform perhaps not as many tasks, but the tasks that it does perform, it performs really well. The ZF, just like many other modern cameras, is dispensable. You can basically achieve the same results with an alternative body. Nikon actually makes the Z5 II, which has the same internals but with a more modern design, and it achieves exactly the same results. Next iteration will probably achieve the same results again, because the output of those machines is related mostly to the firmware and to the software they run, not on the physical build itself, not on the controls the camera has. A camera like the D4S will never be replicated. There will never be another camera that achieves exactly the same results. It has a 16 megapixel sensor that is excellent. Of course, by today's standard, it's low resolution. It doesn't allow for as much cropping. It can't shoot video the same way any mirrorless camera can. But you can mount on it really unique autofocus lenses that I happen to like. And this is the main reason why I still keep using it. It's a camera for special projects. It needs a little bit more light than cameras like the ZF, although it's no slouch in low light. It produces an output that is a little bit different. Now, I told you before that the look of the image, the dimensionality, the rendering is mainly dependent on the optics. But if I wanted to dig even deeper into that rabbit hole, the sensor, or to put it more precisely, the processing of the signal captured by the sensor is different between cameras. Basically, there are two ways cameras address noise. One way, mathematically, is to average the pixels. Averaging has a subtle effect on the noise, the appearance of graininess, and it also softens the image a little bit. It blurs it out, especially on the very high frequency level. So you can not really see this softening unless you enlarge the image on your screen and really look at the tiny details. However, averaging preserves nuance. I think it makes a good approach for keeping the dimensionality of the scene, keeping the appearance of curvature of surfaces. The alternative way to address noise or inconsistency of light levels created by the electronics of the sensor is by running a median algorithm. I have a feeling that modern cameras use this approach. A median algorithm works differently than averaging. It just throws away outliers or light readings that are significantly different than what is read by neighboring pixels. So it is more efficient in cleaning noise or inconsistencies, but it also tends to make the local contrast more stark. It eliminates nuance from your photos on the micro scale, especially around the edges. Now, this approach is, of course, preferred with smaller photo size, smaller pixels, where light capturing inconsistencies might be a bigger issue because of the smaller surface of the photodiode. But median processing is also utilized by newer cameras, I believe. Now, this processing is not done during the translation of the signal into JPEGs. It's done upstream to that. It's done during the analog to digital conversion in the sensor itself. The D4S is a camera used for special occasions, like indoor shooting without flash, when I know there will be quite a large tonal range to the scene that needs to be contained. Its dynamic range is perceivably better than the one I can expect from this camera, although the ZF is quite a modern camera. It has a quite satisfactory dynamic range, but it's easier to extract the details from the D4S. They are better represented in the JPEG files, straight out of camera, but also when you process the RAWs. The D700, on the contrary, is a camera I like using for daylight shooting, especially outdoors. It is smaller and lighter than the D4S, and I really like the way it reproduces colors. It's a special look. It almost looks like the output you would expect from certain types of negatives. Its output is quite similar to Kodak gold stock. It doesn't really look like expensive or professional film stocks. It looks like what we plebeians used to get when shooting film on the more popular, less expensive film types. The D780 is a camera I rarely use these days. It has a very similar output to this ZF because it uses the same sensor, almost the same in-camera processing. It is quite a versatile tool. I think that I could shoot anything with it. However, it's larger than the ZF. It doesn't have a flippy screen that I use with the ZF to shoot video. It is more cumbersome, and it has been damaged a little bit. It had a hard life, so it still works perfectly. But my copy is a little bit quirky to use. I consider myself lucky to have a choice. Thinking about it, anyone could have a choice these days. DSLRs have lost the prestige. Even the best DSLRs that were flagships at the time, the very desirable, are not sought after these days. So the prices on the used market have come down substantially. You can buy a camera such as the Nikon D4S for less than $1,000 these days, depending on its condition, of course. Those were professional cameras that were heavily used, so it's perhaps not very easy to find a body that looks new, or a shutter count that is less than 100K or so. But those cameras have a shutter expectancy of around 400K. So they still have a lot of life in them. Another good reason to use DSLRs is their native lenses, that in many cases used to be not as well corrected as modern lenses made for mirrorless cameras. And they produce an output that, at least to me, is more appealing. Those lenses are made for living things, unlike the very sharp, clinical, dead lenses that are found everywhere these days. The lens filming me now, 28mm f1.4e, despite being one of the last lenses made for the f-mount, is still nice and dimensional. Perhaps it's not the sharpest lens out there, but I do like its rendering. Couple those lenses with a camera that is lower in its megapixel count, that does not pose such a demand on the optics, and you will obtain lovely images. This is my experience anyway. Sadly, the industry is creeping towards higher resolution. That, of course, has a great effect on lens design. Lenses that need to resolve this type of pixel pitch are hard to make. The more they are optimized for resolving detail, the less they can preserve the nuance, curvature of surfaces, the dimensionality of scenes. I think that the problem is that the lowest pixel counts you can find these days are creeping up from about 24 megapixels to 30 megapixels plus. Cameras with 24 megapixels are still being made, but considering that most of the sensors these days are made by one manufacturers, which is Sony, and that the new sensors are already about 33 megapixels, well, it doesn't bode well for us, photographers of humans, of natural subjects. So the only way to preserve those dimensional images will be going back into older cameras. And I think that assuming you don't do too much cropping, an ideal megapixel count would be between 12 and around 20 megapixels for a full frame sensor. Back to the original question this video was about. Why did I choose to use this camera that is so big and intimidating in an intimate family gathering? Well, to be completely frank, I just wanted to give it some air. I wanted to see what images made with it would look like in this environment. That's it. Cameras are not human. They don't need air. But I told you already, I am deep inside a rabbit hole. That will be all for today. If you like this video, if you wish to support my channel, please consider buying me a coffee. There's a link in the description below. It's a nice gesture between gentlemen. Thank you for watching and see you again soon.